This is just a very short video to recognise the passing of Williams as a Grand Prix entity as we've known and loved it since 1969. The news broke today that the company is going to be bought by Doralton Capital. Can't say I've ever heard of them, but then why would I? I'm not an investment banker. I'm sure they're very large and I'm sure they got lots of money, and that's a good thing. On the other side of the coin, I've got to say that it's a great shame, because had Williams, I think, been better managed over the last few years, it wouldn't have come to this, and Williams could still be the team that we've known and loved for so long. So it's a shame. Just going through the people involved in this buyout, and I gather this buyout's literally happened in the last week, very, very fast moving deal. The only name that I recognize is that of James Matthews, who was he raced. I mean, he was I think he raced in the mid-90s. I think he won the 1994, I'm saying British Formula Renault Championship, something like that. I think he's driving for Manor. Loves his racing, so that's a good thing. And he actually runs a company started the company, I think, called Eden Rock. And apparently, if you Google him, he's worth an absolute fortune. I think 2 billion, somebody said. Amazing. But his main claim to fame is that he's married to Pippa Middleton, who of course is the sister of the wife of Prince William. So from Sir Frank's point of view, he's always loved the royal family, respected the royal family. That's probably quite a nice thing. But don't know what else to say, really. I'm wearing this shirt because I feel nostalgic, and obviously you remember all the good times, all the great days at Williams that we've had, and I was just a very small part, but I was very fortunate to have been a part of Williams when they were, I think, at their greatest in the late 80s and certainly the early 90s. But then, of course, we had the Damon Hill era and so forth. Speaking of Damon, I always remember when I joined Williams in back end of 90, going into the 91 season, one of the first meetings I had with Patrick Head was Patrick saying, oh yes, we need to think about our third driver, our test driver, Mark Blundell or Damon Hill. What do you think we should do? And I said Damon. That was my only role in getting Damon to where he was. But anyway, sorry, Mark. No disrespect at all. Very good driver as well. Anyway, just let me get on. Short video this, as I say, because I don't want to detract too much from the other video I posted today, which is James Davison talking about the upcoming Indy 500 this weekend. And I spoke to James, partly because he's a really, really cool guy and he's the grandson of Lex Davison. But beyond that, he's starting on the same row of the grid at Indy with Fernando Alonso, right next to Fernando. So he's got a lot to talk about. And he was right behind Fernando when Fernando had his big shunt in practice last week. So he knows all about what happened there. So watch that video. This is just one, really, just to say, Williams, miss you. Going to miss you a lot, and going to miss everything that Williams stood for in Formula One. Let's hope there's some sort of rosy future. I mean, the good news is they have very good drivers in George Russell, Nicholas Latifi, and Jack Aitken as a third driver. And they have lots of motivation now, I guess, and presumably will have a lot of money behind them, which is also very good news. So onwards and upwards, as they love to say, but equally, Sir Frank, I think I'm correct in saying the last Grand Prix he attended was the 29 Belgian Grand Prix. Certainly the last race he went to with Johnny Williams. And as another aside, make sure you have a look at Johnny's favorite Williams races. I've got the videos I did with him on that, about that on my website, peterwindsor.com. They're all together there, so they're easy to watch. And definitely at this time, I think worth another look. If you haven't seen it, have a look. Johnny Williams on the great Williams races, not necessarily the great wins, but the races, the ones that meant a lot to him personally. So yeah, for Johnny and Frank, it was that Belgian Grand Prix was the last race they did together. And guess what? It's the Belgian Grand Prix coming up next weekend. So it's kind of all come full circle. Been some amazing times. Obviously, some very sad times as well. Ups and downs, all the things we know about Formula One. But for me, Williams have been such a large part of my life that I can't help feeling very nostalgic right now. Anyway, enough of all this. See you soon.